in lapels. As the soldiers inexplicably repel down from the arena rafters, if not so insane, we'll be grounds for screaming.
You are listening to Unscripted Moments, a podcast about Propagandhi. Welcome to the 6th episode of the mini-series on A Catastrophic Break with Consensus Reality, the record featuring Chris Hanna and friends. On this episode, Chris and I discuss the Patreon version of Dear Coach's Corner, originally from Propagandhi's Supporting Cast LP. After that, we'll hear more from guitarist and producer Murray Pulver, who was instrumental in the creation of this alternate version. Remember, there are 3 ways to enjoy this series. First, you can listen to each song individually with Chris and the guests. You can listen to a 1-hour version with just me and Chris with no guests. And you can listen to the full 4.5-hour jumbo edition that includes all of Chris's commentary and all guest interviews in the order of the record. Please enjoy. Chris, let's go back to the next track on the record, which is Dear Coach's Corner.
McLean, Dear Coach's Corner, I'm riding in order for someone to explain to minus the distinction between these mandatory pre-game group rights of submission and the rallies at Nuremberg, specifically the function the ritual serves in conjunction with what everybody knows is in the end a kid's game. I'm just appealing to your sense of fair play when I say she's puzzled by.
So we're going to hear more from Murray and Paul in a little bit that we heard earlier with regards to speculative fiction. But I'm wondering if you can talk to me about what stands out to you about the reimagining of Dear Coach's Corner. What stands out to you that you can remember?
I guess the strongest memory and maybe the most representative memory of the whole project was the first time I went over to Murray's house to even investigate whether this idea was feasible or not. Like I'd run into him at one of my son's soccer games. I think his nephew or a friend's nephew was on my son's team, and I had just been asking him about what he was doing for work, and he told me about production. And I was asking him, well, what does production entail? And I made a joke about him helping me record some songs, and he was like, yeah, man, I'd be up for that if you have something, and which I was surprised by. And then I went home and started thinking, well, maybe this isn't as big of a joke of an idea as I think it is, which is a real strength of Murray's, which is to instill confidence and calm and a sense of possibility in people like me that grapple with self-doubt. But so, yeah, anyways, I went to his house to talk about it, and he was like, well, man, let's hear what you got. And he pulled out this guitar, and I was like, oh, okay. He had this guitar, I think it's called a dobro. It has like a steel top thing on it.
Okay.
And he wanted me to play on a different guitar, this acoustic version of Dear Coach's Corner, which, I was mortified to even attempt. But again, Murray is very disarming and he also has a really good sense of humor, which kind of puts people at ease. So I was up for giving it a shot. And so I started, and Murray just joined in, and like immediately immediately I was just bowled over at how legit it sounded despite my vocals and my guitar playing. I was like, fuck, this is it. This is all it has to be. Like
Yeah.
all you need is Murray Pulver on this dobro or whatever it's called to pull a legit sounding song out of thin air. And it was a cool moment for me because it kind of unveiled the essence of the song itself, and it was like this weird affirmation that it was an actual song and not just a bunch of well executed clattering and shrieking. Like,
Right.
like I knew it was a legit song in some ways, but the way Murray played it, it was a bit of an epiphany for me. So that was really cool.
Something that stands out to me about the way you talk about Murray and the session players that were on Speculative Fiction and Dear Coach's Corner is that I feel like with Propagandhi, you've always described it as, a very laborious process to make the music that you all do in the band. But now you're seeming to work with these people like, Dave Landreth and Murray Pulver, who are playing these songs, but it's so much of a different, like more of a natural style. Like they understand music on such a level that it just comes out of them almost effortlessly, and it helps you re-envision your own work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Like things are laborious with Propagandhi. Like it's completely different. But I have to emphasize, I still love that. Like I love the thing I like about being in Propagandhi, like primarily, is being in the practice space with those guys and laboring over stuff to the point where we're going insane. So like I'm not like just to be clear, I'm not disparaging that process. It's just it was so different, and to see how these guys do it, and I think somewhere between those two processes is another is another level. You can combine the kind of forensic, mind-bending work process in Propagandhi with this completely loose and open vibe of these established studio musicians and make something even better.
Do you remember like watching the band play this in the studio while it was being tracked?
Yeah, I do.
What stands out to you? Like, what do you remember whenever you kind of like close your eyes and remember it?
Well, I guess again, like Murray just scribbling down these little charts for the players, moments before Paul pressed record, and these guys just looking at the notes and going, okay. And then he presses record and they start playing, and it's like, what the fuck? It's happening. Like that's all it takes. And particularly like I have this vision of looking through the studio glass and seeing like Dave Landreth is he's just sitting down on like on a cab or something, like in the corner, playing, like, not that he wasn't paying attention, like he didn't need to, like, he wasn't hunched over his bass, like worried about what was coming up next. He's just in the moment, playing with a facility that is not familiar, I think, to anybody in our band. And it was just really impressive to me.
Amazing. The vocals, the melody, you've adjusted the melodies, you left out some lyrics at the end, and I'm wondering if you have any reflections on the vocal performance that you kind of went through with the reimagined melody and also the omission of some vocals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. Like, this vocally, I think, did I have more trouble with this one? I think I had more trouble with this one because it was a little more naked, a little less to hide behind. Maybe it was a touch less or touch more out of my wheelhouse. But I think I pulled it off good enough, like for who I am. And I actually think at the end of this song, did we make a mistake in the studio with the structure? I can't remember if it was if this was born out of a mistake that we missed a part, but at some part, like the lyrics you're talking about that are missing, I think it was because we made a mistake in the structure. We were like, oh, how do we fix this? And I was like, well, wait a minute, I think actually the idea of the song is actually over there. Like in the song on the Propagandhi record, maybe those didn't need to be there. So I was like, okay, well, let's end it there. And I thought that was, I really enjoyed that. Like I was like kind of excited by that. Oh wow, we're changing this, and we're editing it and it works better. Which is, I mean, that's subjective obviously, but I thought it was cool.
I love it. Well, we're going to hear from Murray. Murray's got more comments on Dear Coach's Corner. So we're going to throw to Murray Pulver, who played guitar on this track. So let's hear this side of the story from Murray. We'll be back in a bit.
As the soldiers inexplicably repel down from the arena rafters, if not so insane, will be grounds for
Do you want to chat about Coach's Corner for a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Tell me. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Tell me your thoughts on the original Coach's Corner from supporting cast.
Well, I feel like it's so, being Canadian and with a title like that. I don't know if you've ever seen an episode of Coach's Corner.
Absolutely.
You have. Yeah.
I lived in Saskatoon for a couple years. And so I never knew about Don Cherry or Ron McLean until 2007, I think, was when they kind of came onto my radar. But yeah, I definitely have taken in the spectacle of the Don Cherry jacket selection.
Yeah. So the title is such a, man, it's such a cool title. And Chris being such a hockey fan, he's just, it really, clearly was like, oh, I better listen to this song. This is going to be pretty cool. And lyrically, like it could mean to me a few different things. And I've seen chats where people are like, coming up with their own versions of what it's all about. But I just thought the song was fantastic. And again, I listened to the original a bunch of times. I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? Like, I really don't know where to take this and what he's talking about,
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are we going to make this so he can sit and play this at a comfortable volume? And because I was picturing Chris at some open mic night playing these songs. And then again, I hate to say it, but I really, no, I don't hate to say it. I'm happy to say that Jen's version really made me pick it apart a little bit and get into the lyric a little more. And maybe because I play with so many or produce so many singer-songwriters, it was just an easier way for me to take it in and then sort of throw some ideas at Chris. He just came over and I'd reworked some chords and thought of a little riff and stuff on the dobro. Actually, he goes, "Oh, I like the sound of that," but it's all I had at home right then to play. And he was like, "Yeah, that's what it should be." And I'm like, "Really? This is too easy, man." Like, but the original song is just so fantastic and incredible performances by that band.
Yeah. What I'm feeling about whenever you say something like this is too easy, like your musical instincts are, different than his. Your experiences are so different than his. So what comes totally second nature and quote unquote obvious to you would be something that may be completely brand new to him. So like while it feels easy to you, I'd say it's your years and years of experience in that.
Yeah.
His years of experience in something totally different that makes you feel that it's easy, but him feel that it's like, whoa, this is amazing.
That's exactly, and that's a very good observation. And like, because I would play certain voicings on the guitar, he's just like, what? How the hell do you do that? Like, what is that? And then we'd get into guitar nerddom, and like, I could never play what he does. Like, it's like, so actually, like, he just was super excited about playing something differently. I don't know if he's ever tried to play these like they are, but
Yeah. Well, and I guarantee you he got to learn new stuff with you, which is awesome.
For sure. Yeah.
I love that.
It was a sharing.
So you mentioned that you kind of used Jen's video sort of as like a picking apart starting point. Any other memories that stand out to you about kind of really when you like honed in on like the new version?
No, like I said, it's a long time ago, but I don't really, nothing stands out to me as being like, oh, I gotta do this. I think once I had the initial, like kind of verse and thought and the form together, I kind of ran that by Chris, just kind of almost played him the first verse. I'm like, what do you think of this? And if he was excited about that, then I'd run with the rest.
Sure.
And say, okay, well, I can do this then. And because to be honest, when this started, I was like, holy shit, I'm out of my realm or league here. I really don't know how the hell I'm going to do this. And, a bit of nervousness too, because, even though like we're a similar age and we're from the same small town and friends, like they've become something that it's a different world from what my world is. And so I was kind of nervous in approaching like, well, what about this idea? And, thinking I'm going to go cowering home I hate this shit, this is, when I said this is what I meant, not, but Chris is such a great dude and so easygoing that it was actually made it so easy. Again, I use that word, but it made it super fun too. Like it was just something that I had no preconceived notion going into it, and just it was musical freedom, which is just like that's how music should be. That's how good music happens.
I love it. Do you have any like stories or memories that stand out from being in the studio doing your parts on this one, or thoughts on the other guys as well?
Yeah, well, like I said, all this happened so quickly.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna play this on dobro, and I just grabbed some shitty dobro and played the riff, and then doubled it on acoustic. And again, like Chris is like just a cheering section. He's just in the sidelines, like yeah, that's it. Do that again. Or now what are you gonna do? He'd ask me, he's like, what do you do with this? And I was like, well, what about this electric part or whatever? It was honestly Ryan and Dave really they set a really great canvas to sort of work shit on, and I think I put just like maybe 2 or 3 guitars on it, and then said, Chris, is this cool for you to sing on? Is that enough sort of inspiration? And he took it home and then sent me wicked vocals. I sang backgrounds and added a few more little embellished kind of things, and that one was done. Actually, that's the first one we did, like that was completely done.
So it sounds like to me like this was just pure joy and fun, and really not that stressful. Like it feels like it was very organic, and that everybody was like very dialed in on this, but like it wasn't like a massive struggle or anything.
No, and I feel like, because I work with a lot of artists where there's label, there's management, there's momagers, dadagers, there's all these people involved where that adds this pressure. And this is just Chris and a wide open Chris, and just being, let's just have a blast doing this. And I don't know where it's going to go. And I'm so far loving everything. And he was just, I just think it was like a rebirth for him of these songs, and just excited to see where that could go, and excited also to see that it can happen, that like these songs can be rethought and reimagined.
The song it cuts off a little bit of the original version at the end, right? Like, right. So it's a little shorter lyrically. Was that done just solely for a different ending impact, or for time purposes? Like, do you remember any of the conversation about why the song is shorter lyrically?
That's true. That's right. I think Chris just said, yeah, let's just cut this shit off. Like, I think we're done with it. Because I think it's too long, especially, because it's, tempo wise, it's slower and all that stuff. And I may have said too, like, do we have to do this part? And not fully realizing, maybe what part did we cut out too? Like, I don't even know. Like,
I can't remember off the top of my head where it cuts off, but it's only like a line or two at the end. I mean, it's not that much.
Yeah.
Not that much.
Yeah. I think he just didn't want to say it. I'm pretty sure it was just like, yeah, I don't need to say that shit right now.
Okay, cool. I like
that. Which might have been just a headspace decision or something that, that's the thing too, when you write music and write lyrics and then you're in a different point in your life, you might feel like, well, that was unnecessary, or, why the hell did I say that? Or
I like that. It's like a second, it's a second chance.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And because I've worked like, with songwriters who've had huge success with songs, and but it just represents a different time and space in their life where they had that to say, and then they may have grown and thought differently of it, and so they sometimes hate singing the song that's made them huge.
Yeah.
And I'm going to check it out, which lines were omitted, because I forget. But yeah, I remember Chris saying, I don't need to sing that now.
I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him about it.
Yeah. And he may go, what? We left that out? Oh, Murray, that asshole.
Oh my God. Okay. So you are on 2 of the 9 songs for this A Catastrophic Break with Consensus Reality record. There are many other people to play on it, many other styles of music, many different songs of artists that he covered. So the other ones are all covers. The yours are Propagandhi originals. Have you had a chance to listen to the rest of the record at all? And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on the whole product.
I very quickly, because honestly, I think Chris only let me know a little bit ago that it was actually,
okay.
And so I just, I've been crazy busy, but I listened to a couple things, and like, I went to Wasted Years, because I'm, every guitar player like our age learned the riffs and stuff. And so it's just like, oh, it's so cool. And Chris singing those, it just gives it a whole different vibe. And so actually, I think Paul played on that. Paul played bass.
Darren Acorn as well.
Oh, okay, Darren Acorn, yeah. Who I don't know, and he's a Winnipeg guy.
Yeah.
Like, Winnipeg's weird, because we have, for a small city, we have a lot of different scenes.
Yeah.
And so, there's the punk scene, there's this art rock scene, there's this like folk singer-songwriter scene. Like, it's just bizarre for a town this size. We have a lot of circles, and I know some of them, but not all of them. So that world, like, I've heard of Darren Acorn, but never met him. And
yeah,
I'd pass him on the street and not know who it was. But
dude, and now you're on a record with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, Murray, do you have any other thoughts on this process or these tunes or anything else that may ring out to you or stand out to you, or just like a takeaway thought on like what this all means to you?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, just a takeaway from it is I was just thankful to be just for that run-in with Chris, where we could sort of chat, and we just caught up basically. And I was thankful that he was like, trusting in me to rework some of these, iconic Propagandhi songs that were just like, I know how much that music means to prop fans. And so for me to take on that responsibility was kind of like, oh my God, like my brother, my ex-brother is one of the best, like biggest prop fans. And so, I just realized through him what this band means to so many people. And, and so I was just, I felt this pressure, but also was honored that Chris thought we might be a good pairing, to do this. And I was just, and I'm thankful how they turned out too. Like, they really have a life of their own, and they could stand alone as something else, a different project even, like, so that's exciting too.
And now when he sings the songs live, he even alludes to these new versions with, some vocal change up. So they live on, even though these versions aren't the performed versions. Like for people that are in the know, they are like, there's that part. Yes.
That is wild. That's so cool to me.
It's an exclusive little club. Well, Murray Pulver, thank you so much for joining me to chat about these tunes. I hope that people will, check out some of your other work. But I'm just really delighted that you took some time to hang out and talk about these Catastrophic Break with Consensus Reality tunes. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, happy to do it, Greg. Thanks for having me.
From pedal to the God no. Every fine memory of childhood that I know. Somehow connected to the culture of this game I just can't let it go.
All right. Thank you so much to Murray Pulver for chatting about Dear Coach's Corner with me.